What's up everybody, let's talk about Project Zomboid kill rates. Like, how many zombies can a weapon take out before the weapon is destroyed? I'm Traumanaut, we're in the Deep Dive series here today, continuing our segment about weapons. Today we're going to figure out the top 10 melee weapons by kill rate, or the expected kills over a weapon's lifespan. But first, I have to tell you, I had to re-record this intro here after I just saw the stats on the last DPS video, damage per second. That one video boosted my subscribers by 50%, and it's been sitting at a like rate of about 12 to 15%, which is pretty sweet, so thanks to everyone who is showing support on that video. Message has been received, so here I am, we're going to keep this weapon theme going. And if you're still feeling it here with this video, please help it out. Help out the channel with your likes and your subscribes again here today. Alright, so big thank you there to everyone, but there are two elephants in the room related to our weapon series that I need to address before we set out here. These elephants are actually comments that came up on YouTube or on Reddit after the DPS video, and they are super relevant to us today. First, a couple of people asked, how do I know the numbers that I'm using for these videos are good? And I got two answers for you. One, like last time, I noticed the Wikipedia and the game file numbers for weapon speed, they weren't really lining up with the weapon speed that we saw in the game, so I went and I manually measured those numbers for myself. Second, for things that we can't measure through direct observation like that, I wrote up a quick C# script that processes the Zomboid weapons list and it spits out a spreadsheet that I can quickly compare to the wiki for discrepancies. Obviously, those numbers are going to be good numbers because they've come directly from the game files themselves. And just to be sure, I went into the weapon editor menu in debug mode and I triple checked that as well. And yep, it was showing me what I expected to see. Okay, so hopefully that clears up the numbers question, and thanks to those who asked the question. But there was an even bigger comment actually, and this one I got, and it got a lot of support from other users as well. This can basically be summarized as, hey, yeah, DPS is cool and all, but it isn't everything. And to that, I have this response. Yeah, you are absolutely right. Like we said in the last video, this whole notion of best weapons in Project Zomboid is a really big discussion, and we're going to have a lot of videos on the topic. So here's what I want you to do. The videos in this series will mostly show you the best weapons based on only one particular weapon element, but I want you to take that information, compare it to your own playstyle, and figure out what this weapon means to you. Figure out if that element is for you. The beautiful thing about the big open sandbox of Zomboid is that there are so many ways to play it, and every weapon comes with its own advantages and drawbacks. So just see what works for you. Okay, so let's get started. In the DPS video, we looked at raw damage for pumping out massive hits in a short time. Today, we'll be looking at the long term, with the number of zombies a weapon should be able to finish off before the weapon itself is finished. We're going to assume you find the weapon in perfect condition and that you don't repair it at all. And just like last time, we're going to be splitting this into a couple of parts, which means you'll be seeing the math on this coming up first, and then the list of best weapons will follow at the end of the video. So let's head into the mathy bits if you're interested, and I'll see you there. Okay, first things first, we're using a few of the same assumptions as that DPS video we did. So this means the numbers you see today are based off of a character who has 5 strength, 0 weapon skill, and importantly for today, 0 maintenance skill. And just like last time, we're taking apocalypse settings as our default, which means weapons cannot slash through multiple targets, so weapons are only dealing a standard 1 hit per attack. So with that in mind, here's how we find the Zed kills per weapon. First, we have to see how many hit points your average zombie has. After playing around with things in debug mode and using again Resistor's damage mod, I found that your average zombie on apocalypse settings has about 100 HP. That tells us two things. It means we need to deal 100 damage to kill a zombie, but it also means that any damage we deal over 100 HP doesn't matter, because it's wasted. So we might expect the top weapon list that we see today to be a very different list than what we saw in the DPS video, where we saw that the katana was dealing more than 1000 damage. Apparently 900 damage there does not matter. Okay, now we need to find out how many hits a weapon needs to land before it does enough damage to kill a Zed. Here's where things get a little interesting. Instead of damage per second, we need damage per attack. And since 100 damage is just as valuable as 1000 damage here, we need to separate out those hard-hitting critical hits from the regular hits. So first, let's figure out how much damage a regular hit does. If it's more than 100, it's 1 kill. If it's less than 100, it's a fraction of a kill. And we can represent that fraction as damage over 1 zombie life, or damage over 100. Let's call this our base kill rate, with a kill rate of 1, meaning it puts down a zombie every time. Then we can do the same thing with critical damage to get the critical kill rate. Now, we're going to use those kill rates to calculate total zombie kills over the weapon's lifetime. So next we need to figure out how many hits a weapon can land before it breaks. This is simple. We just take its 1 in X chance of being damaged on a hit and multiply that X by its durability. This gives us the total number of hits before the weapon can hit no more. Since we need to separate out the normal hits from the critical hits, we can just multiply the total hits there by the critical hit chance to get our number of critical hits. And that means the rest of the hits remaining will be normal hits. Now we just need to take our base kill rate multiplied by our normal hits over time and add our critical kill rate by our critical hits over time. And this gives us our total zombie kills over the weapon's lifetime. Alright, before we get into the top 10 kill rates per weapon here, I want to mention that the top 10 weapons by DPS still fared pretty well overall. 5 of them actually made it back onto the list, although maybe not into the positions that you would expect. I'm going to lay it all out for you in a second here, but first up, it is time for the Honourable Mentions. Today's Honourable Mentions are on the list because, while they didn't make the top 10 cut, these weapons did come out scoring a kill rate greater than 100 kills per weapon. That means every weapon I don't talk about today should be killing fewer than 100 zombies before they max out and break. Okay, so our first honorable mention here was also included in the top 10 weapons list for DPS, coming up in the number 9 spot. It didn't fare quite so well today, but with a kill rate of 102 zombies per weapon, it turns out that the hunting knife is a tenacious little thing on both of these measures. Next up, this one feels pretty awesome to wield, and honestly, I'm pretty sure if you have one of these at home, you keep track of where it is, just in case a zombie shows up at your place in the night. The dumbbell here should clean up about 112 zeds before it's given all it can, and that's some pretty respectable service if you ask me. And next up we have the hammer and ball peen hammer, which I'll bet you were expecting to see today. These common and reliable standbys each average 126 kills before they run out of juice. With that kind of kills, combined with their carpentry utility, we are looking at some potent items here. And finally, our last runner-up is one that I find myself keeping on my game belt all the time, and that is the nightstick. I'm glad to see it here because this one is also pretty easy to find in every city. It spawns on police zombies, it spawns in the cop cars, and those can be anywhere. The nightstick will take care of 127 zombies before calling it quits. Okay, and now here we are, starting our prestigious list. Here in the number 10 spot, we have the lead pipe. It sounds tough, and it is, smashing 148 zombies in its lifetime. Next time you see these lying around a shop or one of those sewer hole covers, you might think twice before you decide to leave it behind. Now, this one you all knew you were going to see today, but I bet you weren't sure when you would see it. Here it is, in the number 9 spot, the Katana, supreme ruler of DPS, here clocking at the lower end of this list with only 150 kills per weapon. It is big, it is bad, and it is glorious, but today it is not breaking into the top side of this list, let alone the number 1 spot. Then, big surprise to me, but coming up in the number 8 spot, we have the baseball bat. I guess I ask too much of it because I feel I'm breaking mine all the time, but a baseball bat will knock out 159 zeds, if you ask it nicely. Let that number come to mind the next time you find a gymnasium full of these things. And spot number 7, here we go. We're talking about the pickaxe and its kill rate of 189 zombies per weapon. In addition to that, don't forget this one clinched the number 6 spot for DPS, meaning we're looking at another well-rounded and generally effective weapon here. Okay, now the next one we know is a heavy hitter, occupying the number 8 spot on the top 10 DPS list. Today though, it has fared much better, jumping its previous competitors by more than 100 points to score the number 6 spot on today's list. We're talking about the standard axe here with its 294 kills before bedtime. You might want to save it for woodcutting, but it looks like it's tough enough to handle a good number of trees as well as zeds while it's at it. Okay, now we're into the cream of the crop, top spot, number 5, and here it is, the machete. It was number 5 on the DPS chart as well, and now it joins us here with a super solid 325 kills per weapon. I've said it before, and I will say it again, do not pass this one up if you get the chance to claim it. Spot number 4 then, and I just love this one because I think it's ridiculous to watch. We're looking at the barbell. It might be slower than its dumbbell cousin, but it's mightier too, coming in with a kill rate of 345 zombies. It's also our first heavy weapon to appear on today's list, but it will not be the last. And we are coming into the top 3 now, where we're looking at the wood axe. We've got another heavy weapon here, this one being the monster that claimed the number 2 spot on the DPS list, and it's held its own again here, coming in at 348 zombies killed per axe broken. With its combination of damage, durability, and versatile utility, I think we can safely say this could be one of the most sought after weapons in the game. This next one, the poor thing. It barely achieved an honorable mention on the DPS list, but here in kill rates, it's come to outshine almost every other weapon in the game, landing itself in the number 2 spot. The Sledgehammer, with its tremendous durability, is able to destroy a whopping 400 Zomboids before being destroyed itself. So not only is it one of the most useful weapons in the entire game, but it is hugely valuable in its zombie kill rate as well. And now, for the big reveal that I'm sure many of you might have guessed before you even clicked on the video here today. We are looking at the big, the bad, the blue, the Papa Smurf of our happy little zombie killing family here. We have the crowbar. Now, this one doesn't have an annihilating lead on its opponents like the katana was able to claim with DPS, but it does hold the title of being the only Project Zomboid melee weapon that will kill more than 500 zombies in a single weapon lifetime. I will openly admit I am biased towards this weapon, and I love its dedicated functionality of being the only weapon that gets you nice little aesthetics like the flooring and the windows. But I promise, I did not fudge any numbers here. This thing will crush a devastating 530 zombies in its lifetime. Now, like a few other tough weapons out there, it comes with the downside of not being repairable. But with such a long lifespan to it, there's a good chance that you will find another one before your first one kicks it. So maybe put that to the test with an all crowbar run sometime. Anyone? Okay, and there it is, our top 10 weapons by lifetime kill rate. Although there weren't any big surprises in here, I was pretty happy to see that your standard hammer or nightstick will hold up pretty well in this category. And of course, I am super satisfied that the crowbar came out on top. Let me know in the comments here if any of these weapons took you by surprise, or if something that didn't make this list maybe let you down a little. And since you watched the whole thing, I might suggest you consider the old like and subscribe buttons, and maybe even that notification bell. Now, again, melee weapons are a big part of Zomboid, and we have a lot more of these weapon videos to come, so I hope to see you around for the next one, and until then, survivors, stay safe and good luck in the end times.